What is up, guys? Ivan here with getivan.com, and in this video we are going to be creating an SOP, a standard operating procedure for integrating GCS, that's Google Cloud Storage, with Cloudflare CDN. And the benefit there is super cheap static website hosting inside of an object storage bucket, which is then distributed for free into Cloudflare CDN, which has a $0 cost on bandwidth. So free, unlimited bandwidth, which means that even for big sites, you're paying pennies every month. So it's a huge benefit, and the process is very simple and easy to do, and that's what we're going to be going through in this video. I'm going to try to refrain from too many long-winded explanations and just get right into the steps. Okay, so let me show you, before we get started, let me show you an end result. This is a domain that I vetted last night with this process of an old site that is currently being repurposed. And if we click refresh on this page, as you can see, it's super fast. If we come down to some of these privacy pages, it's instantaneous. Here's a terms of service page, instantaneous. Cookie policy, instantaneous. So you don't even see any rendering. It's so fast and clean. So the process has been vetted, and we're going to go through that right now. Okay, so let's start with Cloudflare. Go to Cloudflare, make your own account. In this case, I'm going to be adding a new domain, dojomaps.com. Let's add this site. And we're going to click on the free plan, confirm that plan. It's going to look for some DNS records. And if it finds some from an asset that you've been using, then you can just go ahead and delete all of them. Just start with a clean slate. Unfortunately, they don't have a bulk delete, so you have to click the X on everything. To my knowledge, they don't have bulk delete. So it's empty. I'm going to go ahead and click continue. I'll set this up later. Click confirm. Method for moving this domain to Cloudflare would do default method, so we're just going to change our name servers. And I've already changed the name servers, so it just went to the main menu, but typically it'll show you what they are, and they are static, which means they don't change. It's brett.ns.cloudflare.com and ins.cloudflare.com. Looking at a domain registrar, when you go to your domain registrar and click on manage settings or whatever for that domain name, then you'll find an area that discusses name servers. You want to find something that allows you to set your own custom name servers, and that's where you will paste the name servers that Cloudflare gives you. So name server 1, Brett, name server 2, NS. And then submit. And that should take a minute or two to propagate. If you change your name servers rapidly, it might take a little bit longer, but anyways, so once you put those in, hit submit, it should only take less than a few minutes. Okay, in any case, you can still move forward the rest of the process. Let's go over here to Google Cloud Storage. So over in Google Cloud, you need to make an account. Go to your navigation menu if you like, or you can just do a Google search and find the page also. But under the navigation menu, it'll be under the storage area, and there's a tab called storage as well that has a submenu called browser. You'll click on browser. That'll take you to an area that has a button up here somewhere that says create a bucket. So that's where I am right now. And under name your bucket, this is where you'll type your domain name. Other buckets, they won't let you do a dot. Oftentimes they want dashes and small letters and things like that. But in this case, Google Cloud Storage's GCS is unique because it'll let you put a fully qualified domain name here. And the catch is that they want you to verify that you own it using Google Search Console. So you probably want to add your asset to Search Console anyways. And so it's an extra step, but it's kind of an extra level of security that I think is beneficial here, so that in terms of tying your domain name with your bucket. Okay, so they tell you to click here to learn more, but you can basically go to search.google.com, I believe, and we'll go through that process. Just go ahead and type your domain name here, click continue. It'll ask you where to store your data. You can save a little bit of money by doing a specific region, which has a benefit here, but if you're using colder storage in terms of storage class, you can do a multi-region, and there's no price change. So I'm going to go ahead and do multi-region in the US, click continue. And then under storage class, this does matter. So if your static asset is really big, like it's a gigabyte or more, then you're going to want to use hot storage. So that would be standard storage. And if you look at the prices over here as you change these options, you'll see that they get more expensive for the raw storage, a lot less expensive for the operations and retrievals. Since most static websites are only going to be, a few megabytes, 10 megabytes, 50 megabytes, even at the bigger end, you're going to be good to go with Nearline. I've done the math, and Nearline has the highest cost to benefit ratio in terms of savings for small static assets. You get a pretty large, like 160% savings on the raw storage. So it goes from a penny and a half per gig to just a penny per gig at Nearline. So in this case, probably go to Nearline. Now, keep in mind, you can change the temperature of your bucket. It's not like once you change it, it's set that way for life. You can always change it later. To my knowledge, that's what I've seen. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Nearline. Click continue, and then it's going to be, let's see, you choose how to control access to objects. You're going to do fine-grained, continue. And then advanced settings, Google managed key. You don't need to mess with this other stuff. Now, you normally would click create, but in this case, we can't move forward. It won't let us move forward until we verify this property inside of Search Console. So I'm going to only show you a piece of Search Console, and then I'm going to have to skip ahead because there's some sensitive data in here that I don't want to share too much of. But basically, you'll add your domain here. So, well, first of all, when you go to search.google.com, you'll click this drop down up here and then add a property, and then you'll go to domain and add dojo maps. He'll add whatever your domain name is. I'm adding dojomaps.com. Click continue. It'll ask which verification method or whatever. It'll provide you a DNS verification with a text record. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead here, and we'll basically, when it shows you that text record, you're going to click copy. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead. Once you've copied that text record, you're going to come back to Cloudflare, click on the DNS option right here, and then you're going to go add record. You're going to click this drop down for the type of record. You're going to select text record, and it wants this to be targeting the actual domain, which is the root. And so in this case, as you can see, it says use @ for root. So we're going to use the @ symbol, and then we're going to paste our text record here, and I'm not going to show that, so I'm going to skip here so that no sensitive data is shown. And there it is. I added that record, and it's concealed so that it's not being revealed there, and nobody can verify my asset in their Search Console. So that text record is DNS only, and that should do allow us to verify. We're going to go back to Search Console and click verify, and it should say, okay, you're good to go, you're verified. All right, so it says ownership verified. If you get an error, just wait a minute for it to propagate in the DNS, and it should be good to go. Okay, I'm going to go to done, and I'm going to navigate. There's no reason to navigate there, but so here's this property in Search Console, and you can do a number of things here, like, indicate your sitemap and, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to go ahead and move forward, though, and the next step is to go back to the storage bucket and click Create. All right, so inside of our storage bucket, now we have our typical capabilities of uploading files, uploading folders, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and upload some files. Let me upload some template files. So you can't upload folders with the upload files feature. This is just a generic template that I have. I'm going to click open here. One of the benefits of the GCS bucket is it's insanely fast. I've used some other buckets, in various tests over the last few months, and a lot of the object storage is very, very slow. Even for tiny files, it can take a surprising amount of time, but not GCS. They're super fast. So that's a really cool benefit of this platform. Then I'm going to upload folder and click on my folder here to upload this folder. By the way, a quick note on uploads. You can also use something like CyberDuck to connect with this sort of FTP-esque client to Google Cloud's buckets. So check out CyberDuck, and also Mountain Duck, which allows you to sort of mount an object storage as a drive on your desktop. So super, super useful. Next up, let's go to the permissions section here. So under permissions for this particular bucket, you're going to click Add Members. Then you're going to, under New Members, you're going to hit the A letter, and you're going to select All Users. Okay, and then you're going to go to Select Role, and you're going to scroll down to Storage, and you're going to go Storage Object Viewer. Okay, and then click Save. That basically lets all users view this bucket. So it's allowing public access. And as you can see, it says this bucket is public and can be accessed by anyone on the internet. To remove public access, yada da da da. Okay, so I think that let's move on here. So whenever you're looking at an asset in inside of your bucket, you can click on the link and it will take you there. So let's click on this link here. And up in the header here, you can see the subdomain and domain root of the storage area. And this is the URL that we need to create a CNAME for in Cloudflare DNS. So you're going to go ahead and copy this storage.googleapis.com. And then we're going to head over to Cloudflare DNS, and we're going to add a record for CNAME. And we're going to go so we're going to do the root targeting this this storage.googleapis.com domain that we just snagged. Now for this record, it'll show a proxy status. You always want to make sure that it's lit up orange and it's proxied. That means it's proxied through Cloudflare. Otherwise, if you click this, it'll be DNS only. But in this case, we want to proxy this CNAME record through Cloudflare so that we can Cloudflare can actually distribute this through their CDN and take advantage of page rules and things like that. So I'm going to click Save. And now it's pretty much good to go. We still need to set some page rules, and then we'll be pretty much finished. So in terms of subdomain redirect, I like to set up a redirect on the www. So we'll go to a name. We'll do a record here, an A record, and then we'll go www in this name, right? And then we're going to insert an internal Cloudflare IP, which is 192.0.2.1. Okay, so and if you lose some of these strings and things, you can check below this video for little extra tooltips and what have you. But this is an internal IPv4 Cloudflare IP, and basically what this does is this routes the subdomain through this Cloudflare IP. And then that will allow, and it's proxied, you see. So that will allow, and if you use this formula, you can do this with just about any subdomain. You can add subdomains and have them redirected with page rules. So click Save on that. Now we're going to add the page rule. So you're going to come up here, click on Page Rules, then create page rule, and we're going to pick a setting. We're going to go, excuse me, we're going to go forwarding URL, and we're going to create a wildcard. Now, if you have other subdomains that you need to use, then you won't want to do a wildcard. So for some assets, I'll have subdomains that access, project management sections or, special dashboards for various purposes. And so if you have those kinds of things, then you don't want to do this. But if it's just your typical client asset or small, project asset, and you're not really using different subdomains, you probably want to just redirect all subdomains with a wildcard. So this is the formula here. And I'm going to type in Dojo Maps. So it's an asterisk, a star, little star.dojomaps.com / and then a little star again, little asterisk again. And so that basically says, it's going to find everything in the subdomain and everything in the trailing slash, and it's going to redirect it with our little formula here. So we're going to select forwarding URL, status code permanent 301, and then we're going to put our domain as an HTTPS / dojomaps.com / money symbol and then the number 2. So that this money symbol number 2 points to the second referenced asterisk in our other previous formula. And basically what this does is it redirects any subdomain that's entered. Any subdomain that's entered gets redirected to the HTTPS form of the root. And then if there's anything in the trailing slash, like a page or whatever, then it'll copy whatever is in that trailing slash. So it's really convenient little formula we've got going on there. And if you don't want to do the wildcard, you can just enter in the specific subdomain. The downside to that is that all of a sudden now you have to enter specific page rules for those specific subdomains that you want to redirect. So it's a lot less flexible. You only get 3 page rules per free site in Cloudflare. But with most assets, you can probably just get away with that wildcard page rule. Okay, so now we need to check some of our settings back here and make sure that we've got the SSL thing configured correctly. So it looks like the SSL mode is set to flexible. We want this to be full. You can do full strict as well, but you'll have to actually go to origin server and get a certificate made, and then you have to, I guess you can place it on the bucket. I haven't even tried that yet, but here we go, full. Okay, sorry, I guess it didn't process for some reason. This is fine though. You're going to do full encryption, and then under edge certificates, you want to do always use HTTPS. So that should be checked off. And you can see here, it's already issued certificates. They're auto renewed, and it just deals with it automatically. It's really great. Automatic HTTPS rewrites needs to be turned on. This other stuff should be fine. I don't think anything else needs to be set here. Let's go to caching. You want to be aware of your caching. It should be set to standard. This is where you can do purges, so purge everything or custom purge of like a specific page. Under overview, there's a quick purge option also. You want to check that out. You can set the browser cache lifespan here. So this is defaulted to 4 hours. So people that visit will automatically have the cache for 4 hours, in their browser. So if you don't want that to be as long, then you can, cache in their browser, then you can lower it or increase it. I mean, I know that I've seen some standards on the internet use 1 day of browser cache. I don't know. I leave it as it is, since the bandwidth is unlimited and free. I mean, it shouldn't really matter a whole lot, unless you're just changing your site a ton, Anyways, let's see here. I don't think anything else here needs to be changed. There is an area where you can change there should be an area we can change other aspects of caching. Let's take a look at that overview and see if we can spot that shortcut. So it should be like right here. I'm not sure why it's not showing, or right here. Let's see. Oh, here it is. So purge, you can purge the cache really quickly right here and go to DNS settings from there also. Looks like, yeah, there's this thing called development mode. I haven't really used it, where you can bypass the cache to see changes from the server in real time. That would probably rack up costs to some degree, though, rather than just manually purging. Anyways, let me see here. I think that's just about it. Under speed and optimization here, so speed and then optimization, you can do auto minification if you want of the static assets. I have that for my stuff pre-configured, but with the files. So I don't really do it at this level, but you could do it if you wanted to do it here. Experiment with that. Also, at the bottom here, you can set a mobile redirect for a mobile version of the site if that's how you're doing your static assets. So just to be aware of that. And under network, there's a setting called HTTP 3 with quick. It might be beneficial to turn this on to improve encryption and performance here. Have not experimented with that. Might be beneficial to turn that on. And possibly this. Just have to see how your assets react to some of these things. Let's see. IP geolocation should definitely be turned on. All these routing things should be turned on under the network setting. Under the scrape shield option, you might be interested in turning on the email address obfuscation, possibly hotlink protection if that's what you're interested in. But let's go ahead and navigate to the site and see how it does. dojomaps.com. Oops. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add the index file into Google Cloud Storage. That's my bad. Let's head over there and edit. Should be edit bucket. You might have to go to the main bucket area, and we go there real quick. So here in the main bucket area, if you click on this menu button, you can click edit website configuration, and then you can indicate your index.html. I'm sorry guys, I forgot to add this earlier, and then 404.html, and then click save. And so that right there is a huge benefit of Google Cloud Storage. Let's go over back to our test, and it should be, yeah, boom, whew, razor fast. I hear bullets when I load this page. Yes, super fast. Beautiful. And if we look at this encryption, it's all good to go. So let's do a brief summary of this process again. Basically, we're adding a site. We're going over to, what is this? Oh, that's that thing I was showing you. Okay, we're going over to cloud storage. We're creating a bucket, and then we're going over to Search Console, verifying to grab that text record. Then we're going to go back to, what do you call it? The Cloudflare DNS, and we are adding that Search Console text record to verify ownership. Verifying the ownership, we're going, also we need to go to the storage bucket, edit the website configuration, add the index.html and the 404.html file or whatever. And we'll also, and we're verifying, we're creating that bucket. Well, we're creating the bucket, then we're adding the website configuration, right? Then when we edit the bucket's permissions, we're doing all users. We're adding a member, we're saying all users, and all those users are going to be able to view. They're going to have storage object viewer permissions, not legacy, just storage object viewer, so that that bucket becomes public. Okay. And after that, we're basically grabbing storage.googleapis.com or whatever that domain was, and we're creating a CNAME to the root of our domain. And then from there, you can also add this subdomain a record, so a record www, and then to that internal Cloudflare IP, and then you're going to page rules, and you're creating that special page rule for redirecting the subdomain to the root. Let's go ahead and test that real quick. Make sure that let's try it like this, just naked www.dojamaps.com. Nope, you're going to the root, my good sir. That's also another benefit of Cloudflare DNS is the CNAME flattening. Let's see. Let's try the www. And we're going to go to, say, tos.html. And yeah, it redirects us to the root of the same page. So pretty sweet, right? And then, of course, if we enter in some random thing, then it'll take us to a 404 page so that we have a 100% cache hit. Anywho, and it probably seems like a lot of steps, but once you get used to it, it's actually really easy by comparison. You just kind of gotta go in and add a domain, and then just go through the process of just verifying it and tying those things together. But the benefit on the other end of it is that in terms of regular activity, you're just coming into your bucket and you're just loading and unloading your files. And with something like CyberDuck, you can do it straight from your desktop. And it's pretty fast. And then at that point, I've noticed that I think there's something where the cache will clear when there's maybe new files added. At that point, though, you could just use, the Cloudflare's quick utility to clear the cache as you're doing development. But once the setup is finished, then you just have a website that you're paying, pennies on the dollar for every month. So it's just a really, really awesome method. But I think that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you sooner or later. Thanks. Bye-bye.